something that during the show we used to go through. We used to see Becky's cravings during shows. Guests, let me let you know, every guest that Becky was interviewing, you had to bring something to make sure that some of these things she wanted. So all those guests, shout out to all the guests who made sure Becky's request during the show, who brought the chocolates, the sweets, the halls, the mentors. There's so many things that Becky was craving for, you know. But congratulations, Becky K. And it's good to have you back on Hustle Hard.
Yeah, I'm excited about today's topic on Hustle Hard because it's a phrase that I've heard half my life, and sometimes I know what it means, and sometimes I'm like, I feel like just talking too much. It will happen when it happens. Don't rush me. And then sometimes you discover, if I don't start now, I may never start. And then that little wicked procrastination thing kicks in, and then it's late. Yeah. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, you know that phrase that says a year from now you will regret why you haven't started. And it will sound like, oh, come on, Becky, I've heard this before. Yes, you've heard it before. And what did you do about it? Did you start, or did you just scratch your head and say, statement in wow? But I have plenty of questions around this, because why are we rushing? Why are we starting now? What if I want to pace myself? What if the thing I want to do is so big? It needs me to plan for a while. Are you saying I should, do away with the planning and just start now? So you can just take us through that.
Yeah, so, Becky, today is the 21st of April. It's a special day for me.
Absolutely.
I remember 21 years ago, I lost my mother.
On this
day.
Dude.
And it brings a lot of emotions, but I would like to celebrate and look back and see all these strides, to see all those early morning waits, and now to see this man become who he is. Usually go and pay my regards to my mom, but it's so important that even as we speak about this topic, I remember my mom always used to emphasize about do it now. Whatever you are doing, make sure you are a person who, if my mom sent you to the kitchen to get something, she was always that, do it quickly, don't do it like slowly. Make sure you're that person when you're sent. Don't act like you're thinking about going. Be that do it now, do it quickly type of person. And you'll find with the topic we're talking about today, it has a lot to do with that. In this life, a lot of people have procrastinated so much, and a lot of people think the thing called time is on their side. But you realize soon after somebody passes away that this thing called time is never given to any of us to know what tomorrow holds. And what we must do with the time that God has permitted us to have on this planet. Yesterday I was at the funeral. Apostle Dr. Melody passed away.
Hey, that was so
and
sad.
It's amazing that she lived a fulfilled life. And she was a person who was always about, let's get it done. Let's pray up. Let's keep doing what we're supposed to do. Let's not be weary of doing good. Let's do. And so many people yesterday were testifying the goodness that she brought into their lives at a young age of 45. Now, Chinchinonzi life, we take for granted, and we think we've got 100 years to live. We think, I like your question, Neguti, why do I have to wait? Why can't I wait until, because my dream is too big? Becky, my question to you and to everybody listening, how much time do you know that you have to still be on this planet to keep saying, I'll put it off for tomorrow and I'll do it next month, I'll do it next year? You never know. Anything can happen, and that's it, and your life is gone. And when your life goes, like I had a reflection yesterday at the cemetery, once you are gone, you are gone. After a week, people will still be talking about you. After 2 weeks, it fades away. After a month, people have gone into programming that person is no longer there.
And then years later, it's once in a while that your name will come
And
out.
whatever you wanted to bring to life, whatever idea you had that you kept putting off, can now never be fulfilled, because you were specifically sent by the Creator to go and fulfill that specific purpose and mandate.
Yeah.
But now nobody else can do that. So in this life, we have this, I can do it tomorrow. There are people over holidays. You know what happens. There are always accidents. There are things that happen. People who left to go to work didn't come back. And here somebody has an idea of saying, I want to do something in a year's time.
Yeah.
And
are there certain things that we can say, I can do later, or is it, do those things, do it now? You know, it's simple things like, okay, I'll mention a struggle that I had, and I discovered when I did those things fast and quickly and immediately, or when I thought of it, I would literally chuck the blankets and get up and actually do it. One of those things was making my bed. Gosh, I hated making my bed.
Yep.
I hated it. And sometimes I was good with it, but most of the time, majority of the time, I was really bad with making my bed. But when I made it, I made really good.
Yeah.
And just like your mom, my mom would like, get up, do it, fast, do it, quick, just do it. That moment when you think about it, get up and do it. So I gave an example of making my bed. Maybe someone is struggling with cleaning or doing the laundry or starting that business. You know, are there specific things that we can say, I'll do it later, it doesn't really need to be done now? Or are we putting this into everything that we are doing?
Okay, so when you look at the top achievers in life, people who make it, people who are known for becoming great, successful, and top at whatever it is they do, there are people who have a no-nonsense attitude to getting things done.
Okay.
Now, the simplest way to seeing somebody who is going to become successful or not is to see how quickly their decision making is on getting things done.
Decision making on getting things done.
Right. So when you wake up, the first thing you do, get your bed done. You go work out. You go take a shower. You go do this, that, and the other. People who are successful are deliberate about getting things done quickly. They are not people who put off or delay or say, you know what, I'll do this later. No, that's the easiest way to define between a person who will make it and who will not. Now, I remember one of my mentors told me once that your response determines your destiny. Your response determines your destiny. How quickly you respond to certain things, determine. But if you are that person who takes things lackadaisically, slowly, you are not in a rush, you are in a comfort zone. Right, una agency to do things. You will see that people like that are not going to jump on to opportunities when it comes. I remember every time I go with my mentorship program and I speak to people, I always bring out a note of money and I say, hi, who wants this? Right? And I lift it up. And you'll see people lifting their hands. They want it.
And they just lift their hands.
They lift their hands.
Get up and get that one.
But then there are those who then quickly see an opportunity and they're like, yes, I want it. And they're quick to their feet. They go and they take it out. I remember I did that 4 or 5 times. But there are still those people who slowness of saying, wait a minute. And this is the same thing that happens with life, because life is about opportunity. And he who sees an opportunity faster than others will reap what others who are not seeing the opportunity are not. And this is why you see in this life we live, there are those who become entrepreneurs. There are those who start a side hustle. And then there are those who remain in the comfort zone. Those who remain in a comfort zone with just the, as always we call it the JOB, the just over broke, they will remain there and they will not ever have financial freedom or freedom of time to do some of the things they want to do because they are so consumed on one thing. But once they get a revelation to say, wait a minute, if Becky K did it, if George did it, and he had a JOB and he started a side hustle, surely I also can do it. And this is why our topic today is saying the richest place on the graveyard, the richest place on planet Earth is the graveyard, because many people died. But today, a year from now, what will you wish you would have started?
So, okay, I think that answers a majority of where people's questions are going. I love how you have set us up for that. a year from now, that one thing you will regret is the thing that you should actually start now.
That's it. Because Becky, I've said this before and I keep saying it. George is a futuristic messenger to all the people listening today who are reliant on the thing called the JOB. One day you will replay this and say, George was so right. I was a minister, I was an MD, I was a finance clerk, I was the marketing manager. I thought I was untouchable. I was above, and I thought, you know what, my life would never change. But then, with the additional income that you had, especially at a time where your fees was being paid, your fuel was being paid, your medical aid was being covered, your children's whatever, your cable network is paid, everything. You were so comfortable and you had a lot of disposable income. But one day when that call comes, when that sickness comes, when that some bad news comes, when you lose a loved one who you're relying on comes, and that changes drastically your life, that's when you'll get a revelation to say, I wish I had started something with the additional income that I had on the side for me now to be able to become self-sufficient. Because I tell you, and it's so true, with all the people who've been retrenched, with all the people who've lost their father or mother who was their sole provider, anything can happen to anybody. But whilst now we are procrastinating to say, I'll do it later, why not have an urgency with your life to say, you know what, I don't know what tomorrow holds.
Have an urgency with your life. It's yours anyway.
It is your life. And like we've said so many times, there's nobody coming to rescue you. And you don't want, when things are tough, now you want to start pushing the urgency button, as though you did not know that there are bills to be paid. There's a life to live, that you can't just rely on just your father, mother, uncle, brother, wherever they are in the country, out of the country, to provide for your needs. You personally have to say, with the little that I have. And remember, Becky, there's a time we spoke on the phone about people who say, I don't have capital, I don't have money to start.
No, you taught us that that's a lazy person speaking.
That's procrastination. That's excusatitis, a horrible disease which is also linked to procrastination, which is fathered by the biggest thing that has affected so many people around the world, called poverty. So poverty is closely related to procrastination and excuses and laziness. All those things lead to poverty. So if those three things, if you're a person who, when you're asked, why haven't you done this, and you come up with an excuse, be surely assured that poverty is around the corner. If you're somebody who is always procrastinating, be sure that poverty is around the corner. If you're somebody who at home, you are seated today, it's a holiday, you haven't helped with breakfast, washing the car, doing dishes, all you've sat is sat on your phone and do nothing.
Come on now.
And you know,
I want to rest.
You want to rest, but you do not understand. No. Poverty will come upon you whilst you are resting. It will be,
we're here.
because you're so consumed with your phone and unnecessary things which are unproductive. And what's going away, which you don't realize, is the most precious commodity given to you and I, called time.
Sure.
Whilst others are doing something. And with a habit, it ends up becoming something that you subconsciously do.
Right.
When you wake up, before you do anything, you do your bed. It's a habit that once you do 10 times,
I had to learn the hard way.
And it becomes like, wow.
Now I don't mind. I will still be moaning and groaning while I do it, but I do get it done now because I feel so much better after I've done it. And I look at my work and I'm like, if I can make my bed, surely I can get a lot of other things done throughout the day. This morning, one of my helpers isn't around. So my kids, 17 and 11, turning 12, I say to them, well, Auntie's not around. She's not feeling well. So you guys are the ones doing laundry today. Oh my gosh, you should have heard them. And they were like, Mom, is this for real? And and I was like, yes. So I just gave them a quick rundown on how to do the laundry. But within an hour and some minutes, they were done with their laundry. And I was like, was that hard? Did you die?
Come on.
So then Bella says, so how often will we be doing our own laundry? She's already looking for an excuse to like, no, I don't want to do this. But the fact that she managed to do it and she completed it. That feel good hormone that comes when you have done something well. I saw it on her face. She was smiling, she was happy, and I think that's the reward that you get when you do something and you do it and you get it done. What was your motivation that kept you going and that said to you, George, you can't stop now, Watotanga? Because I know there were plenty times where you thought of saying, no, I'm so done with this. Your mom teaching you, get it done and do it quick. Not just getting it done, do it quick also. What were other things that kept you motivated to keep going with the things that you have started in the various areas of your life?
So, Becky, one of the most important quotes I've understood about procrastination is this. So, procrastination is the greatest enemy of success. I'll say that again. Procrastination is the greatest enemy of success. So, for me, I realized at a young age that putting things off will never get me the results I want when I want them. And I decided, especially when I began my journey with Pro Air, to say, you know what, I want to reach success at an early stage. But this is going to mean I have to be crazy, obsessed with what I do. And I have to be willing to outwork every other air conditioning company. Which is why I said to myself, wherever I go every day, I need to be branded. Whatever I do, I have to become somebody who is not relaxed at any time. And I think the many times you've seen me, most, if not all the time, I'm always branded because I'm not that person who's going to miss an opportunity to meet the president, to meet a CEO, unbranded. I want every single day somebody to say, you know what, I saw this car, I saw this guy, I saw this somewhere, somehow. So for me, getting that revelation to understand that, wait, if I want to be successful, I need to get off this lazy mentality, this putting things off. And I need to get things done now. And I think I've told the story about when my mom told me to sell freezers. I didn't want to at the time. But when I started getting the reward, that was one of the greatest lessons my father, Nicodemus, and my mother, Teresa Monengwa, taught me at a young age. That if you want something, you have to be willing to do what every other kid in Glenora is not doing. You're selling freezers. Everybody else is playing soccer and doing what they want. But you at a young age are creating an income whilst others are on holiday. So from a young age, I got to taste what money was like. And I made it myself. And I liked this.
I want to do it again.
I became very reliant at an early age not to ask my parents for money because I knew how to make it. Even if I wasn't there, I would leave the lady at the corner to sell my freezers. And then she would give me the money and I would give her a little commission to say thank you. So things at an early age began to become remotely working without me being involved. Because
but surely,
I did
George,
other...
there are some things that we can prioritize. I know you're saying don't put things off, but in my list of priorities, I'm not going to get everything done in one day or like within a specific period of time. How do I prioritize what is important? What can be done later? What can be done now? What can someone else do? Because you were just talking about delegation. You just brought up a new aspect here of delegation. How do I know how to prioritize or the things to prioritize? Am I basing them on my personal development, on the things that I know, on my circumstances, or am I basing them on results? If I want results, then start with this and that.
So I think what's most important to everybody, which most of us find very difficult to do, is to begin the year, begin the month with certain things that you want to actually achieve and do. And if you're a salesperson and you want to reach a certain target number of sales, there's specific things you need to do daily to call a certain number of people religiously, so that at least out of those 100 calls, you know you've got 10 potential leads, which ultimately will lead to your ultimate target sales of the month that you want. It may be you saying, you know what, I want to start a business. And what does it take? It needs you to, now instead of you spending a lot of money buying yourself lunch and all these other additional things, now you're putting money aside to capitalize your business. It could be, hey, you know what, I'm somebody who every time a new phone comes up, I want to buy the latest phone, I want to buy a new car. My priority is to invest in inventory and in stock. So now it all goes and it depends with people and what they want to achieve, because people will always have an excuse especially if they don't have a goal or something they're chasing in life.
Okay.
The moment you identify to this year, I want to do X, Y, Z, your mind, your body, your soul become so focused to achieving that thing, and nothing can hinder you back from achieving that thing. But if you don't have something that you want to do, and urungorarama chamuka inyama, whatever happens, happens. If you're that type of person, then it's very difficult then to be able to focus. But if you get this call that I am saying to people, that please note, sooner than later, your age is going to become unemployable. Very soon. Your streams of income are going to be belittled. You have a lot of responsibility upon yourself to take care of your family, your parents, and all this. If you don't start today by saying, you know what, I want to do something different that sustains me. And I remember we had a mentorship class this last week, and we were talking about some of the things you can do to help you begin. And there are many people who are employed who say, but George, what do I start? The simple question is this. The more you hang around with people who've done what you want to do, the more info you will get about how to start.
Right.
It's very difficult to get information about starting a business from people who are still under the job because they haven't started. So it deliberately takes you disassociating with those type of people and deliberately hanging out with people who are doers.
Right.
People who are not suffering from excusatitis, people who are not lazy, people who have done what others haven't done. And sooner than later you'll find, hey, I started off like this, and now a year down the line I now have 2 trucks, I now have 2 branches, I now have increased this, that, and the other, and now I'm thinking of resigning end of this year because I want to give my full attention to this business that I started whilst I was still employed. Because I tell you, years are going to come by, but the one most important thing you're not ever going to get is this youthfulness you have, this productiveness that you have, this refreshed mindset you have, whilst you still have a stream of income, rather than when things get dark and you have no stream of income at all.
There's a question here. Hansi, hi George. Good to hear you and Becky back together. Billy. Okay, calm down. My question is on motivation. We focus on motivation a lot, but motivation runs out. The focus has to be on discipline. So how do I stay disciplined with the things that I need to get done?
I love that question, and it reminds me a lot with me and how I managed, especially with my early days with Pro Air, to actually stay afloat. I always, at all times, acknowledge that George Billionaire is not a successful air conditioning company owner by himself. The motivation I needed was from my deliberate association. You cannot become great by hanging around with losers, because losers will only deflate the air in you to make you become like them. So when, yes, you get motivation on Monday from us here on Hustle Hard,
yes, tomorrow can die.
You're going to go back to your chicken friends, to your friends who have no ambition, no dream, no zeal, no nothing. And what's that going to do? 1 out of 7 days is going to be diluted with those 6 other negative days, with those naysayers who will tell you, no, Siananajo, just stay at work, don't listen to George.
So
and
wait,
Becky.
are you saying the
These
discipline
ones,
here is to stay away from those people?
And we've said it before.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's rough, that's harsh.
Becky, in life, like I've said, please, people hear me. This time you have on this planet Earth, you were given specifically by God, not for you to become average. That was not the purpose of God for people listening today. You were supposed to become an extraordinary human being because God deposited something in you. But if you hang around, I love the Bible, and the poor you will always have. And if you hang around these POOR people, people who are passing off opportunities regularly, you will also become like them, which is poor. But when you
run with your life,
run and associate with winners, if you see somebody who's winning, hang around them. There's something about them that will begin to motivate, inspire, provoke, equip you to say, wait a minute, if Becky did it, if George did it, surely I can. And this is why we say, Becky, to every pulsar, who listens to us. There's
Yeah.
no way you can remain the same if you've been
Absolutely.
listening to us for this long.
Absolutely.
Wakaona wakaramba wakadaro, there's something wrong with you. Either you are not human, you are either a rock or a stone, which cannot digest
No, we
this
have a
that
pulse.
we've been
We have a
given.
pulse. We
We
have a
are the
pulse.
pulses. We are changing. We're changing lives. We're transforming people's mindsets. Could wait. Kana zvichiitika kune ava, surely it can happen to me. All I need to do is to believe.
We've got 4 minutes before we shut down this segment. What is it that you are starting to do today? You have been procrastinating this thing. You've been putting it off for the longest time. After hearing what George has said, what's that particular thing that you're saying, okay, in that I'm going to do it today. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to do my laundry. I'm going to clean my windows. I'm going to mop the floor. I think if you start with simple things like that, the bigger stuff won't sweat. You won't sweat the big stuff. You just be like, let me do it. I can actually do it. 0719-100-404 is the WhatsApp number. If you want to give us a call, 077-226-9241 is the number to call us. 077-226-9241. It's Capi Talk 100.4 FM. Hustle Hard with George, a billionaire. So is there a sequence that we're working with here, George? When we say start now, otherwise you'll regret it.
It's Becky, I've said this and I'll say it again. Procrastination is the greatest thief of time.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. And a basic thing that people should understand about procrastination is the foundation of all disasters. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. If you're somebody who procrastinates, you are definitely going to not have a fulfilling life.
Sometimes I'm scared to do the things.
And remember what we said about the 4-letter word.
It's not like I want to procrastinate.
Remember, being scared is, we say you're fearful,
yes,
right?
I got fear.
Yeah, you got fear. And fear, remember, only exists in your mind. Fear is abbreviated false evidence appearing real. So kwauri, to you are scared. You are thinking, what if I fail if I do this? But the greatest question I can ask people, what if you succeed? What if it works out? A few weeks ago, we were talking about behind the doors of your greatest fears lie your greatest treasures. So as long as you don't go and open that door, you will never know what's behind that door. You will never know that you could have been listed amongst the billionaires with your idea had you started. But because of the 4-letter word called fear, you are holding yourself back. Yeah. And like we've said before, you're going to go to heaven, get that video playback, Becky. This could have been you. But you were so...
You do the clap the hands.
You were so full of fear. And yet, you only have one chance, Becky. You have one. Yeah, you never expected it. Imagine, now you can't go back and change things. Now your children, who could have been empowered by you, and that thing you could have brought to life, now are living in misery because mom was supposed to have brought, dad was supposed to have brought that thing into life and in existence. So let's not be procrastinators. Let us be doers. I love in Philippians, I can do all things.
That's the scripture I quote when I'm making my bed.
I can do all.
I do all things through Christ.
I love that. Me. Always have that mindset to know that you can do anything. Yes. Yes.
Oh man. Oh gosh.
and if we have that mindset and we get rid of fear, you'll achieve, you'll amass, and you'll be able to do so much more. That surely when you go to heaven, the Almighty, our Lord God and Savior, will be proud to say, this one, yes, accomplished all the things I sent him or her to achieve. And that's what we want to do in life and actually be known for.
This one says, hi Becky, hi George, thanks so much. I've got a sink full of dishes. I'm going to go and do it now. Surely if I start Nindiro, life will be easy.
I like that.
This one is from Pet. I'm sure you're a new listener. Ameno. But Pet, thank you so much for writing in. It is 1 o'clock on Capital. Stand by for